G'day to all my friends and family, and welcome to this episode of Jim's 5am Club. The sun's going down. It's coming to an end, another beautiful spring day. And I've just come to the top of Mount Tomaree, and on my way up I came across a beautiful little flower. I'll just show you here. It's a flower which has 5 petals. On one side it's purple, and it's a beautiful, beautiful flower. And just the other day, a friend of mine pointed it out to me and said it's a flower which symbolizes the hand of a Roman soldier who was forced to put his hand in the fire to grab something, to save something. And that memory has been forever captured in nature in this particular flower. I forgot the name. What I'll do is I'll have a look on the internet and see if I can find it. But there's meaning everywhere. Everywhere we go, everywhere we look, we are surrounded by meaning. And one of the gifts that we all have is to live, learn and pass it on. So what I'm going to do today is what I normally do, is I've got a book summary to go through, and it's a thought-provoking book summary entitled How to Take Smart Notes by Sonke Ahrens, the author of this book. And what we'll do is we'll try and pick out a few tricks to be able to use. Before I start my little presentation, I just want to show you over there, that's Zenith Beach down there, but just above Zenith Beach, as you can see, a few months ago, at the beginning of winter, when we had a few storms, there was quite a bit of landslide activity up here. And you can see over there, there's at least 1, 2, and one over there, 3 landslides that have happened. And on this track here, the first third of the track was a huge sort of mudslide which wiped out the track and closed down this walking trail for about 3 months, all the way through COVID. So what can we learn from this book? This book here, the author kicks off with an observation saying to have an undistracted brain to think and a reliable collection of notes to think in is pretty much all we need in life. Years ago I went to a seminar run by Steve Covey, and he said that one of the most important things to do is to read and to accumulate as much OPE, other people's experience, as you can in your life. But he also said, to make sure that at home you have a library. In your home you have a library which is full of books that you've read. But more importantly than just having books in your own library at home, he said, is to have books in that library that you have written. He's not telling us to become authors and to write novels and become world-class writers. What he's basically saying is that we need to take time to journal our thoughts, journal our experiences, and fill up books with all of our observations, all of our reflections, so that we too can capture the knowledge and the wisdoms from all of those people around us, things that are important to us, and to pass it on. I don't know who we're going to pass it on to, but for those who have children, grandchildren, there may be an opportunity at some point in time that they may value it, especially considering how quickly our lives are moving on and how quickly things are changing. So what I'm suggesting is that with time there may be a loss of wisdom because certain experience is no longer related to, but the responsibility, I guess, and the accountability of each person in a family is to make sure that they are the ones who can link the previous 2 generations, 3 generations, to the next 2. So this book here is all about taking smart notes and doing what you need to do in order to capture, document, record, and pass on the wisdom that has been passed to you and that you've accumulated in your life. So the big lesson from this book here is that we need to learn to take notes that can help us accumulate more knowledge and retain more in a shorter time frame, which hopefully will teach us to become more productive. So the first formal point to come out of this book from this author is that we always need to take 3 types of notes: when we're learning, when we're reading, and when we're creating ideas. Let me just go down here. I think I'll stay on this side today. Otherwise, I normally go up there and go around there with a beautiful view. But because the breeze is coming from the east, I don't want the breeze to be buffeting the mic. I've never been around this side. I don't know if it takes me anywhere. It probably doesn't, but let me have a look. So the author is saying that we need to take 3 types of notes. And there was an author known as Luhmann, who authored over 60 books. According to this author, the other author, Luhmann, authored over 60 books. And the first type of note that he took and that he suggested taking is a fleeting note. Just very, very brief notes on a piece of paper. And you use that sort of note taking to help you uncover ideas and to stimulate thought processes. Because even though we've become digitized, one thing we must never forget and must never underestimate is the power of the written word. I use Facebook, I use social media, I use notes on my iPhone, but nothing beats writing your own notes in your own handwriting, because what it does is I guess it stimulates the brain. It just does something different. It's just a beautiful activity, which I thoroughly enjoy. And as I said, I've done over 1,100 book summaries, and for I guess about 800 of them or 700 of them, I've actually taken notes. You know, the first 300 or 400 were done off the cuff without having any notes whatsoever. But now I rely on notes just to be a little bit more focused in what I do. So we need notes, a second type of note. So the first type of notes that the author suggests is fleeting notes, just to capture ideas and just to mull around things. And the second one is that we need to reference details and facts and ideas, but we need to sum up those ideas in our own words. I remember when I was at university and I'd be taking notes back in the days when you actually sat in a lecture with a pen and paper and took down notes. And what I found, and what this author also says, is it's important to take notes in your own words, not to just write down what the lecturer says, but to interpret it, to translate it as the lecturer is talking and put it in your own words so that you remember and you can recall and you can understand what it's all about. So putting things in your own words is critical, a very, very important trick to have and to use and to incorporate into our learning abilities. And the third type of notes are the permanent notes. The notes that we mentioned before, which are the journals, the observations. As I said, I use Facebook, I use social media, and I capture a lot of my ideas, my life story on Facebook. Because what happens is, what I love about it, is that it comes up every 12 months on the anniversary of the date, and I've got a record of it, so I can recall it, I can remember it, and hopefully do something with it. So it's a great means, it's a great tool to have, and you don't have to make it public, you can make it private. You can publish it privately, and that way only you can see it and access it, for those who have problems or issues with privacy. So these third types of notes that we mentioned are the ones that we can use to create ideas, use as a space for our thinking, our debating, our discovering multiple perspectives. Because when we take notes, when we mull over things, when we review things, especially when we review things, say, a year or two later, when we've had other life experiences, then we're in a position to see it from a different perspective. So what I love doing is, as I say, publishing my vlogs, my ideas, the book summaries, and then a year later going over them and complementing them and supplementing them with other pieces of information to expand my knowledge and to make it, I guess, more relevant to the current times. So the author also mentions that what's really, really important to do is to use keywords so that you can reference the things that you've captured and the things that you've got. And as I said, one of the beauties of Facebook is that you can reference things. Let me just get down the cliff here without falling over and ending up in hospital. Here we go. This is one of the most beautiful places. I love coming here. This is my bolt hole. I come here just to get away. I come here just to be one with nature, and I get to see 270-degree view of this magnificent Port Stephens. We've got Shoal Bay down there. So the next point to come out of this book is where the author says it's important to create a hard version of your memory. I've never heard of this before, but I think I like the idea, because years ago I went to a seminar, I think it was Jim Rohn or Steve Covey, but he says that we all need to be subject matter experts in a few key subjects. Now each person can pick their hobby, what they want, what they're interested in, and what they want to build some depth and breadth in. So the key thing is to list down the things that really interest you and the things that you think will be able to help you grow and develop and become a better version of yourself. And I guess over the years, the sort of subject areas that I've picked are personal development, and hence why I do the gyms at 5 AM club and the book summaries. For me, Christianity, Greek Orthodoxy, my religion is very important. And I said to myself that what I wanted to do one day is to be the reference point, so that if my children, my wife, my friends, my family, even my parents, grandparents, wanted to know something or verify something, then I wanted to be in a position to be able to at least have done the work to be able to be a source, a reliable source of truth, to be able to pass on to them. So I've read a lot, and I've documented a lot as well. So I've got an eye for detail in that sort of area, and I really enjoy it. So that's another area that I enjoy doing. Other things are like, you know, sport, dance fitness, Greek dancing. I really enjoy Greek history, but the sorts of things that I don't really put too much focus on, rightly or wrongly, is I'm not a fan of EPL. I'm not a fan of English soccer. I'm not a fan of Italian soccer. I'm not a fan of German soccer. I'm not a fan of soccer at all, because for me, knowing all the statistics and everything about soccer is, you know, something that doesn't interest me. Personally, I see it as a waste of time. You know, how's it going to change your life? How's it going to improve your life if you know everything there is to know about soccer? So each person has the choice as to what to focus on. But what a lot of people don't do is they are gifted. They're gurus in their particular area of knowledge, but they don't capture it. They don't document it. They don't make a hard copy of their mind, of what they're thinking about, and what shapes their futures. But this author here is saying is that what you need to do is, you know, maybe have a card system, or maybe have a couple of boxes where you can write down all your notes that you pick up from your conversations, from your seminars, all those really interesting, important aha moments that we have in our lives. Capture those. Instead of keeping them in your brain, put them on a piece of paper, put them on a card, put them in a box, order them in a particular way, catalogue them, and make sure that you're able to be adventurous, and you can grow and develop and have a breadth and a depth of knowledge and a skill set within a few key topic areas. And you can refer to these all the time. I remember years ago learning that, you know, the art of learning is attaching the unknown to the known, and the more you know, the more you're capable of knowing. So if we learn new things and more things and attach it to what we already know, and draw a line between the dots and join as many dots as we can, then we're in a position to learn a lot more and to know a lot more. So the last point that comes from this author, I'll just turn it around. The last point that comes from this author is the importance of chunking things down. It's very easy to be overwhelmed with all the things that we need to do, with the projects we're involved with, our work, our home life, our social life. And what the author says is that the key is to learn how to chunk things down and break things into smaller bits, because it will increase your productivity and it will improve your execution, is the key message from the author. And the other thing that the author said here, which was really powerful and a real eye-opener, is that 50% of doctoral theses remain unfinished. And the reason why they remain unfinished is that most people are intimidated by big projects and get overwhelmed. They get overwhelmed to the point where they don't know where to start. They don't know where to go from where they are. They don't have a plan. But if you break things down, if you chunk it down, as the author says, then you're in a far better position to be able to achieve what you're working on without being overwhelmed and ending up on a scrap heap. Because it's a psychological challenge. Now, just like in tennis, we see there are so many great tennis players. I've been watching the tennis lately, and I enjoy watching the tennis for some reason. But it's only something that I've picked up lately. But I've seen that there are people who are really, really great players, but they all seem to choke at a particular point, and they can't make it. They can't win a major. And yet other people win a major tournament who don't have as much talent and just fly in and fly out. So it's all about chunking it down, as my friend Johnny D says, one step at a time. Take one day at a time. The author here says, write one page at a time of your thesis, but make sure you're making progress. We're not looking for perfection in our lives. The important thing to understand is that we're not looking for perfection, we're looking for progress. So progress is the key. So as I said before, writing, using the skills, the writing skills that we have, rather than the digital note skills, but being able to write in cursive style is something that stimulates the brain and is very, very powerful, according to this author and according to my experience as well. Because through writing, as the notes say here, it enables objectivity, and it enables us to have perspective, a wider perspective, a deeper perspective. Because when you're writing, you're also thinking. You're doing it with a bit of thought, and it makes a huge difference. But I think that's slowly going to be lost with the Generation Zs, because a lot of it is digitized, and writing is not going to be, I think, a major way of communication anymore. Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for joining me on this episode of Jim's 5 AM Club. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery, where we try and learn something new every day. And I've uncovered a wonderful resource of OPE, other people's experiences, and I've been able to bring you well over 1,000 vlogs, 1,154 I think this one is, in English, and I've got about 70 in Greek. But I love doing it. It's something which is I really, really enjoy. I don't know how else I can put it. But what I enjoy even more is that if other people did it as well, so that we can all supplement and complement each other's material, so that we can all learn from the wonderful wisdom that we've all been able to be exposed to through our families, our friends, our universities, our life experiences. Anyway, take care, and thank you very much once again. And I'll just do another 360 because I just can never, ever get enough of how beautiful this place is. It's overcast. It was a beautiful day today. I've been able to do a lot of work on my unit to get it ready for rental next week. We put a new kitchen in. I've had to get a tradesperson to come out and just finish a few things off. Otherwise, we'd have some issues. But it's a beautiful, beautiful place in the world. Take care. Yassas, and bye for now. Ciao.